Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. At last, after like several years of waiting, literally, I have the András Schiff box. Yeah, oh my God, how many CDs is this? Oh, I have no idea. It's like a bazillion, 78 CDs. But happily, they come in clumps, rather convenient clumps. I mean, if I look at this thing here, they've divided everything up into like solo, concertante, leader, chamber, and other things like that. You know, the thing about this box, as you may know, is that they had messed up. Well, they messed up all kinds of things. We don't really know how messed up it was. But I do know that the order of things on the discs is not the same as the order of things necessarily in the booklet, but at least it's all here, as someone from Decca said, with a sigh of relief and an admission of defeat. Well, we got it all in the box. It's amazing to me, it really is, because all these things were previously issued. All they had to do was stuff everything that was previously issued in the box the way it was previously issued. But no, they wanted to change the order. They wanted to futz with it in various ways. And so that's what they did. So if you open it, it's another one of these boxes. Like you're going to kill yourself if you try and pick it up by the sides. You have to get your hand under it. I'm telling you, be careful. Who invented this packaging? Whatever happened to like a lid? You know, it's just or a pull out or something. It's so freaking twisted. I mean, this is upright. You're going to put it on a shelf. When you take it down from the shelf, it's kind of heavy and hefty. You're going to want to pull it by the sides. And when you do that, there it goes. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't know. These people are just the dumbest people in the world. They really are. So here we have the box open. I did it without causing major injury. Now it comes with, let's see. Oh, it comes with this. Erratum, the Mozart Piano Concerto pairings on CDs 38, 39, 40, 42, and 43 are erroneously given in ascending order in the booklet, whereas these concertos were in fact coupled in reverse order on the original release. The audio reflects the original programs. Please refer to the back of each disc wallet for the correct order of tracks and timings. A revised digital copy of the booklet may be accessed at, follow that, that little square thing, whatever that is, and we're in business. So that's that. Then you get this rather nice, it's the right size, sort of banner-like flag. You can wave it at yourself, booklet thing, which at least gives you the repertoire, and then the actual CDs herein. So, rather than pull them all out, which is just 72 CDs in paper sleeves, they're definitely going to go flying all over the place. Let's see what we can do. Oh my. Yes, just going through the track listing on the actual box thing. You get a track listing, and you also get a composer listing in the back, which is quite handy. Now, one of the interesting things about Schiff as a pianist, and he is a very interesting pianist in many ways. He had a reputation, as I was growing up and these things were coming out, for being a somewhat self-effacing artist. That is, someone who's a nice pianist, someone who wasn't like perverse, who wasn't like a barn-burning virtuoso. He comes from a wonderful tribe of Hungarian pianists, people like Zoltán Kocsis and Des Ranki. They were all together in Hungary at one point. And they sort of knew each other and trained together and played together and all that stuff. But they all have very distinctive personalities. And Schiff's repertoire choices on LP, I think, have been really, really interesting. He's focused on certain composers, that is Bach, Schubert, Mozart, and people from Eastern Europe, basically. There's lots of other stuff too. individual discs and whatnot, but he hasn't done Beethoven cycles, for example, which puts him as makes him something of an outliner. outliner, highlighter, no, outlier, thank you, in the universe of piano playing, because he's gone his own way. He's had very, very strong preferences in terms of the repertoire he does. And the repertoire that he's done, that is Bach, Mozart, Schubert, it's not high octane virtuoso repertoire. I mean, he's not doing Rachmaninoff and Liszt and Beethoven and in solo and concerto work. There's some Brahms, and lately there's more Brahms, but not on Decca. And so he's a maverick in his way, but he's a maverick who is not like Igor Pogorelich or one of those like perverse, crazy maverick people, or like Pletnev was back in the day when he first started. He's doing sort of basic repertoire, but selectively. I don't know. I like him. I like him for his individuality, and I like the way he performs. He loses himself in the music, and it unfolds very, very naturally. Most of the time. Some people find his playing dull. I've never found it dull. I think he's extremely musical and thoughtful. And, some people say the same thing, for example, about Ingrid Haebler or pianists like that. Pianists who were never going to, rock the boat or, shake the foundations of our musical being because their repertoire choices and interpretive outlook was just not going to do that. But that doesn't mean they aren't wonderful musicians, and that's true of Schiff. So let's just see what's in here. And like I said, we could talk about a lot of this in clumps and get through it rather quickly. The issue is, do you like what he does or not? And it's that. So we begin with Bach. He's done basically like all the Bach, lots and lots of Bach. There's an absolutely first-rate Goldberg variations in here. The partitas are splendid. I mean, really, really sensitive. I love his 2- and 3-part inventions. I just love those pieces, but I love them. His well-tempered clavier is tasteful, intelligent, wonderfully paced, and lovely to listen to in larger chunks than I usually do, because the well-tempered clavier is one of those pieces where I usually take them, 1 or 2 preludes and fugues at a time, because it's still, it's a lot. I mean, it's just a lot. I know there are people I know who can just sit there and play the whole thing. I guess I admire them in a way. So the Bach is really good. Then you get the English suites, the French suites, the Italian concerto, the French overture. I mean, all the major Bach keyboard stuff is here, and it's pretty first class as for Bach on the piano. He doesn't over pianisticize anything, but he doesn't try to pretend he's playing a harpsichord either. It's just smart and musicianly. So after that, there's a lovely Scarlatti disc. That has a few just delicious sonatas, I think 15 of them or so. And then Mozart. He did all the Mozarts. We've gotten, let's see, we're already at CD 15 here by the time we get to Mozart. Let me just, what do we have here? I think he did all the Mozarts. And supply and lyrically, and with a fine singing tone, and with apt attention paid to the music's vocal qualities. It's really quite lovely. Then there's this disc. This disc I kind of really like, which is the CD 20, the variations on A vous dirai-je maman, the music for mechanical organ and glass harmonica, and the variations on Unser Dummel. What is this thing? I never get that word. Unser Dummel Pöbelmeint. Yeah, that thing. But they're lovely. They're absolutely lovely. It's a wonderful disc of like Mozart ephemera, but really, really beautifully played and lovingly treated, and it's lots of fun. Schubert, well, his Schubert's pretty terrific. It really is. You get, let's see, the Klavierstücke D946, the 4 impromptus, the 8 impromptus, there's 4 more, they're on different discs, some German dances, the Moments musicaux, all the sonatas that matter, I think all the sonatas, period, yes, all the piano sonatas in really, really lovely performances. And Decca had some really great Schubert sonata discs with Radu Lupu, for example, who is a similar pianist in some ways to András Schiff in his repertoire selectivity and in his sort of lyrical orientation, which works really well with Schubert, right? Schubert was nothing if not lyrical. That was Schubert's whole deal. And the performances are simply lovely. What else have we got here? After Schubert, wait a minute, let me keep going here. We've got lots of Schubert. Oh my goodness, tons and tons and tons of Schubert. A nice reference edition, frankly, of Schubert. Of course, some people would rather have William Kempf, and some people would like Wilhelm Kempf, whatever his name was, and other people like Todd Richter and whatnot. He's not going to plumb the innermost depths of Schubertian quasi-spiritual insanity. He doesn't elongate tempos ridiculously. It's just really good, listenable, enjoyable playing. Very, very nice. Let's see. Then we've got some very interesting things here. Some Mendelssohn songs without words, a beautiful disc of those, and Janacek. Interesting. Here we go. I mean, Schiff has done a lot of Janacek, and that's really cool, and he does it really, really well. And again, you mustn't be mistaken because Schiff is a more gentle pianist, often is not to thinking he can't do things that are like craggy and rough-hewn. He can, and he does. And he does with this Janacek stuff. I mean, the Janacek piano music, this is lovely. Absolutely wonderful. Then we've got all the Bach piano concertos. Now we're in the concerto business. First-class performances of those. Absolutely first class. They're done with, let's see, who else? With Camerata Bern. And he's got the double concertos are with Peter Serkin. Ooh, yeah. That's oodles and oodles of fun. So, I mean, he gets really, really good people to work with, and he works with them really well. Remember his really, really super duper cool Rager Busoni thing he did with Peter Serkin. He's was it with him? I don't know if it was. Yes, it was, I think. Then we've got all the Mozart piano concerti. This is my reference recording. Yay! For the Mozart piano concerti. Again, some people want a more prominent version of the piano part. But I think these performances are just absolutely unparalleled in their chamber music give and take between the piano and the orchestra. I mean, he's listening and responding to what the orchestra is doing. And the orchestra is the Camerata Academica of the Mozarteum Salzburg under Sándor Végh, who is one of the greatest conductors in the history of the universe, particularly in Mozart. So you aren't going to hear the accompaniments done with more character and point. I mean, just put on Concerto number 17. Oh my God! It's just incredible just to hear the woodwinds chuckle and burble and the piano diddle around them. And they're delicious performances. Absolutely wonderful. So, one of the high points of his discography and of the Mozart discography generally. So then we have the Mendelssohn Concerti with Dutoit and Bavarian Radio. Now, Dutoit redid them with Thibaudet, which is like sort of the reference recording for the Mendelssohn Concerti, but these are very, very good. It's a short disc. It only has Piano Concerti 1 and 2. 41 minutes of music, but they're such delicious pieces. And he does Mendelssohn very well, as we know from the Songs Without Words. Then on CD 48 here, we have the Brahms Piano Concerto number 1 and the Schumann variations with Schulte. Well, there you go. And the Schumann variations are, for two pianos or piano four hands or whatever they are. So Schulte is playing piano in the Schumann thing. It's a good Brahms D minor. Not my favorite. It needs to have more projection, I think. There's a case where Schiff, I think, needed to just have a little bit more character. And, he's remade them on ECM, both of them, where he's conducting from the keyboard. And I wasn't a big fan of those either. Chopin Piano Concerto number 2 and the Schumann Piano Concerto with Antal Dorati and the Concertgebouw. Oh my goodness, this goes way back to 1983. It looks like something around there. And they're lovely, lovely performances. And the Concertgebouw is terrific, and Dorati's a wonderful accompanist. Nothing not to like. Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto number 1 with Schulte in Chicago. Now, you don't usually think of Schiff as a Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto number 1 guy, but he plays it well. Very well, and it's exciting, and it's not lacking in virtuosity. And he does the Dochnani variations on a nursery tune, which is just a wonderful work, and it's a terrific performance. It really is. You'll notice he tends to hang out with his Hungarian colleagues, like Schulte and people like that. And look, Christoph von Dochnani, the Dvorak Concerto, and the Schumann Introduction and Allegro Appassionato. You see, this is a very fine performance of the Dvorak and the Schumann. And it's not music that was a disc that was promoted with any kind of enthusiasm by Decca, because the Dvorak Concerto was supposed to be a dog, and it's not. It's quite splendid, but when this came out, it was 1980 something. Can't see a damn thing here. 88 it looks like. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find it. I bring out the magnifying thing. And 1988. There you go. 88. And did anybody care in 88? No, they didn't. Oh, that's terrible. Then what have we got here? Mozart. Oh, these are songs with Peter Schreier for the most part. I mean, Schiff and Schreier were wonderful together. He was a splendid, splendid vocal music accompanist, a wonderful chamber music player, as we shall see in these last 26 or so discs. So you've got Mozart leader, Beethoven leader, let's see, Schubert leader, lots of Schubert leader, including splendid Die Schöne Müllerin and Winterreise. Remember Winterreise? It was in our Winterreise Wednesday series. And Italian songs. Oh, yeah, Italian songs by Beethoven and Mozart and Schubert it's with Cecilia Bartoli, isn't it, I think? Like, really kind of interesting. Doesn't say. Peter Schreier and András Schiff. Yes, Cecilia Bartoli. Well, what's not to love? It was a Cecilia Bartoli record. But he was, typical of the man. He was willing to sort of play second fiddle to Bartoli, as anybody would to her, and do a splendid job on his own. Then we've got some Brahms leader with Robert Hall. Oh, this is all with Robert Hall, bass baritone. These are wonderful. Schumann, 6 poems and Requiem. Liederkreis, Opus 39 from Schubert, and other goodies, all with Robert Hall. And some Liszt songs and Bartók songs with Sylvia Schasch. Oh, wow. Look at her from 1981. Goodness gracious. Now we get chamber music. So that's the leader. Interesting selections. Again, stuff you don't hear necessarily everywhere else. Intelligent programs. I mean, that's what the guy did. And then we have, let's see, Haydn trios. Oh, these were wonderful. I remember when these came out. This is with his, he did these at the something whatever festival that I can't remember what it was. And it was just, these were good. Oh, just wonderful performances. It's 2 discs of Haydn piano trios. Pardon me, not piano sonatas. Did I say sonatas? Trios. They're with let's see, Yuko Shiokawa, violin, Boris Pergamenchikov, cello, and Schiff, and they are delicious. Absolutely first class. Mozart and Beethoven, quintets for piano and winds, with an amazing collection of wind people. Heinz Holliger, Elmar Schmidt, Edward Brunner, clarinet, Radovan Vatkovic, horn, Klaus Tunemann, bassoon. Remember, he's with the Zelenka Trio Sonatas that we've discussed rather recently as one of the greatest recordings ever with Holliger. So that's really good. And then we've got, let's see what else. Oh, the Beethoven Violin Sonatas with Sándor Vég. Oh, yes. Oh, terrific. It was, my goodness, it was released in 86. And again, no one paid attention. Vég always had sort of intonation issues in places, and he still does, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the musicianship is just delicious and unparalleled. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 discs of those. The Schubert Trout Quintet with the Hagen Quartet. Very, very nicely done there, and some double bassist. The Brahms Clarinet Trio and Horn Trio with the New Vienna Octet. That's Peter Schmidt, Friedrich Dolezal, Erich Binder, and Günther Högner. Horn stuff. Yeah, great. Just wonderful. Let's see. Dochnani. Oh, my God. One of the great, wonderful chamber music discs in the world. Erno Dochnani's Piano Quintet No. 1, which Brahms enjoyed, and the Sextet in C, which is delightful, with one of the funniest finales you've ever heard in your life. It's hilarious, and this is such a great performance with members of the Takács Quartet. The level of musicianship here, I mean, I hope you're getting a sense of this, is really elevated, especially these chamber music things. The Brahms Piano Quintet with the Takács Quartet, which is first class. Janáček Violin Sonata, the Concertino for piano and chamber ensemble, a Fairy Tale for cello and piano, The Capriccio, Defiance, for piano and strange brass ensemble and piccolo, and along with the Bartok contrasts. This is with all of his other, the same people he had. It was a music festival in Vienna or something that he did. I have the individual LPs. I could look it up. Originally, it told you what it was, and I can't for the life of me remember. Really don't care. Then we've got more Bartok, the violin sonatas and the sonata for two pianos and percussion. Yeah, and again, that's sort of like banging, slamming music, right? And he's not supposed to do banging, slamming music, but he does it really, really well. Okay, maybe it's a little bit more lyrical than some other people do, but of course it's not a bad thing necessarily in Bartok's banging, slamming mode. So that's wonderful. And CD 74, the Antal Dorati Duo Concertant for oboe and piano, Benjamin Britten's Temporal Variations, and two insect pieces for oboe and piano. Elliot Carter's Quintet for piano and winds, Heinz Holliger's Quintet for piano and winds. They always put these at the end of these collections. If you noticed, it's never disc 1. It's always disc 74, because otherwise, you'd go completely crazy having to listen to all that stuff. Then there's some other, like some Loiseau Lyre. Yes, here we go. Some period instrument stuff, forte piano and whatnot, which he started to do for no particular reason. I don't think any of it was necessary. But you've got some Mozart stuff, more Mozart stuff, and violin sonatas, and forte piano belonging to Mozart. Oh, yes, those discs on Mozart's own forte piano. Like, it still sounds the way it did when Mozart owned it. Ugh. It's okay. So you got some Mozart stuff. And the piano quartets, that's the most interesting thing. The two Mozart piano quartets at the very, very end on CD 78. But the thing about it, whether he's playing on a forte piano or a regular piano or any of that stuff, is that it's obviously the same artist. It's the same sensibility, the same musicianship, even the same, effort at tonal production. He's not he's for all of his self-effaciosity, or efficaciousness, or whatever you want to call it, he does not do it just because the instrument is making the performance. It's him. It's him in his own sincere, sober, intelligent musical way. So that's it. This is a really, really fine box devoted to an artist whose individuality is evident as much in his choice of repertoire as in the way he plays it. And I think this is major stuff, personally. I really do. I'm glad Decca finally got themselves together in time to issue it in some form. However, we may have to unpick it and figure out what's really on the discs that they're giving us. But, hey, what the hell? They're only human, or not, as the case may be. And this is a major statement, a major testament to an artist who is still with us, still making recordings, although not for Decca. And it's interesting that he's been sort of repeating himself. He should, frankly, if I were Mr. Schiff, I would not do the Brahms Piano Concerti again. Well, he didn't do the second, so one of them was new. But I would start doing some more Eastern European repertoire, more Hungarian repertoire. There's lots of it. There's lots of Dochnani he could be playing. There's all kinds of stuff that he could be doing that I think he would be doing extremely well. And he's got ECM now. He's on ECM. So let's see what projects come out. I'd be very, very interested to know. The Rager and Busoni, all this stuff that shows that, his music that requires virtuosity that conceals itself, the art that conceals art, all that stuff. He's still around. He's still doing it. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, keep on listening, friends. Thanks so much for joining me, and take care.